Juhani, obviously, thank you for the time, taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us today. Let's start with a couple of introductions, just in case people watching want to know who we are. So I'm Dan Putman with Salto, customer engineer. We work together a little bit, Juhani, but I get to work with like customers in our NetSuite space and other other applications as well. So it's really fun to do these. Yeah, and Johnny, you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Dan. So my name is Juhani Mäkirinta, and I'm based in Finland. I've been working as a NetSuite consultant now for, I think, 12 and a half years, roughly. So I was one of the kind of core team members when Staria started with NetSuite, being involved in different kind of roles. My current role, on top of being like an architect level solution consultant, is also act as our NetSuite Solutions Director. So I'm responsible on improving and finding out what kind of solutions we can provide for our customers in terms of all in the NetSuite ecosystem. In that terms, we have been working with Salto now for a little bit over a year now. We started out quite slowly, you could say that we were piloting quite long to kind of figure out that what Salto is and how it works, and we have now been progressing in our own methods of how we are going to be using and utilizing Salto. But I guess you want to ask me some questions about that before I go into that detail.
Hey, if I wanted to ask any questions and you just go on for an hour about that stuff, that's great. I don't need to be a part of this. So I think actually you're kind of hitting the nail on the head. I was going to ask you about, Staria and a lot of those things. So, why don't you expand a little bit upon what kind of challenges people bring to Staria to solve, and how Staria, goes about that, and what expertise you bring to the table to solve those problems?
Yeah, well, Staria was established roughly 22 years ago. In our core, we are providing accounting services for the customers, and we always bring the tools to how those services are provided to the customer. So in that kind of terms, we are an ERP consulting company, but our kind of core offering is not just ERP. We want to enable customers the kind of global growth, and we are supporting that by providing these outsourcing services in anything related to accounting, as well as the ERP solutions that we are providing. We are also providing payroll services in, per se, now over 40 countries, and global accounting services. It's kind of a rough number that you can think of that. It's almost every country in Europe, and then major countries like North America, then Middle East and Asia, like for example Singapore, or where we are also not providing payroll, but global accounting services. And we also have an in-house BI solution that we have acquired during the years. We've been partnering with different kind of BI software before, but now we have an in-house solution that we can also give customer solutions around BI, and we are focusing on the financial reporting. So it's kind of we are targeting in specific customer sizes, but they are all you could say categorized under the kind of umbrella that we are focusing on customers who HQ is in the Nordics at the moment. We are constantly, of course, expanding. So, for example, last year we opened a new subsidiary in UK, where we are growing quite fast, and the team is growing there as well. I'm sure you've been involved with those guys as well, because they've been working in the NetSuite area at least 15 years already. So everybody is quite expertise when we are hiring someone or onboarding anyone from UK. So 10 years is probably the average there on in terms of experience. So, but yeah, in that terms, NetSuite was like a key factor on enabling this kind of service offering that we are now presented as we are like we are Finns, but we have, I would say half is now in Finland as employees. But we still like to think ourselves that we are the Nordic challengers, but we are aiming to be the best in Europe in this area.
Yeah, and given my experience, I've worked with a number of customers that were purchasing Salto, and then I realized they were working with Staria as well after the fact. So it's amazing that footprint, how it expands, has been overlapping. So I'm really curious. I obviously hearing all of what you bring to the table and what you're solving for your customers, and us seeing your footprint expand. What do you think makes you unique compared to a lot of your customers in the space? What makes Staria attractive?
I would say that it's the kind of good combination of being ambition and being curious and being customer centric, trying to find the kind of best solutions from the market and really bring value to the customer operations. And we believe in long-term cooperation with the customers. So we are not trying to achieve any kind of quick wins. We have several customers that we have been working for several years together, and there are like a couple of very big brands actually that has been taking like I would say some sort of risk of their own as well, because NetSuite wasn't so familiar when we started, because we there was like just handful of NetSuite users in Finland when we started. So there wasn't any others representing NetSuite when we started, and but yeah, it was like right timing also that this whole online and back then it was still called software as a service, was like just hosted some ERPs. That was like the main one, but truly an online access anywhere with basically any device, that was like a new thing for everyone.
So it's really interesting to hear you talk about these long relationships and depth of experience, because I remember when we first got engaged, Salto and Staria, it was, you were very hesitant. You wanted to make sure the tech made sense, that everything was as promised, as described. So what caught your eye when you first started using Salto? What made you say, we need to look at this deeper?
Now I can't remember. I was in the first demos included, but I'm sure, but I can't remember anymore how I ended up in that meeting, because it was somehow just introduced to us from some kind of an event or something. And then it was like, hey, I met someone. It must be like this. And it was like just speaking on the corridor that, hey, I met this kind of interesting thing that you need to see this and you need to test this. And okay, I was probably a bit hesitant then and wanted to see that what this is all about. But it didn't take long for us to kind of be interested enough to start trying on our own that how it actually works, because the key what Salto brings, what we find most interesting is this kind of finding out the dependencies between the objects in the account, and that is by far the biggest selling point for us, also towards customer, that we can increase the quality of our work so significantly, because the deployment process or tools, when using only NetSuite's own tools, is very limited, and it's very you could say complicated. You can't really trust it always. it can perform, but you need to really know what you are doing, and you need to remember that what we were deploying, you need to do all the comparisons manually by browsing and clicking so many pages in the system. Other option, of course, would be to put a couple of thousands of lines into Excel while you are doing something in the in the environment, but so far I haven't seen anyone who is like keen on maintaining that kind of documents manually.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as complexity increases, right, in these projects, and I'm sure you get in some rather large projects, that overhead becomes significant.
Yeah, and it's not just the projects, because of course the project is always like a important thing that we are on schedule when it comes to deployments, and we make sure that everything is deployed and working as it was in the sandbox environment. But also it helps a lot when we have these long-term customers that they do develop their environment, and we can do this kind of change management in a way that it's controlled and it's also fully documented. That has become I would say over the 2 years. For us, we haven't had that kind of requirements from the customer before, but as our customers have become bigger and bigger, their internal compliance and governance audit trails and such things, they also are very much monitored and audited. So it's you have to be able to prove that what you're actually deploying, and all of these are much easier to do with Salto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, like you mentioned, these change management processes in these larger companies, they're going to ask, can you move it from one environment to the other? But also, how do you recover from a mistake, right? How are you backing these up? Are you able to revert? Things like that. I guess it makes me think, without Salto, what would you be doing in these situations? You mentioned Excel earlier. What other tooling would you use if you had to do this in these large customers?
Well, it would be very complicated, especially with the larger ones who has several different sandboxes and different kind of processes, so that you need to be keeping track on several environments. It's a lot easier when you have just one where you are testing and developing and then deploying the production, but also in couple of cases where you have 2 or 3 sandboxes, and you need to do also like development in one and UAT in a second sandbox. It's like just a multiplier again, that in what status the different developments are in what environment. I would say that there is no other way of managing it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen this as well with a lot of our customers. And, I'm thinking, you mentioned this one case with lots of sandboxes. Are there any other examples you can think of with a customer where, the dependency management or the backup or the visibility and the differences has really been impactful with any of your current customers?
Well, I guess know TQC. That's a good example that they have a large and complex environment. They are using 2 sandboxes, and they have made like a principle that no changes should be done to production directly. So everything has to go into production with Salto, so that they get this production deployment kind of I would say good reports, and also this what you also mentioned, that they can revert the deployments. They have also used that feature when they have been doing a deployment, but but then only from production they noticed that actually it's breaking one integration, and so they reverted it. So it was just matter of minutes that they can like revert it back, because that, I would say, it's almost impossible without using Salto.
Yeah, that would basically be a manual process that
Yeah,
create
it
that.
would be manually like reverting everything that and you need to know what was the component that actually breaks the integration.
Mhm. And I didn't ask earlier, but these components that are being changed is it and just scripts? Is it all types of customizations within NetSuite? What are you typically touching?
We are deploying. I would say that of course the scripting and custom records, that's like, you could say, standard. But I would say that things that are hard or impossible to deploy with NetSuite's own tools are roles and workflows, and then custom forms. So even with workflows, Salto is also not able to automatically convert those nasty account-specific values, but it gives you the list and warnings on those. Because when you are just bundling those from an account to another, it just disappears. You just need to go in and check manually that did you lose some kind of a reference to a role or custom form or email sender recipient. They are all gone. But with Salto, you get like a good notification that this workflow is including these account specific values, and you can then select to either manually update the deployment file, or you push it through and then use the UI to fix those. But at least you have a list what you need to be able to fix in the production manually if you select so.
Yeah, and these are my favorite parts of these interviews and discussions, because Juhani, I get to give you great news, which is we're actually rolling out the ability to map those account specific values between environments automatically.
That's good.
So that sounds like something we'll be getting into next week with your
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
Yeah, saves you more time.
That's a very good news. Thank you.
I think that's one thing we love about working with, customers in companies like yours, is we get that kind of feedback about what's painful, what's left, how can we make your lives better, and then I get to give that to my engineering team, and they get to go figure it out. So they've been pretty incredible about filling in those gaps, and you've been incredible about giving us this kind of feedback. So I think I really only have, one other big question. And we've hit on bits and pieces of it, but if you had to tell someone who's not using Salto what they're missing or what they don't understand, what would you say to that person, or to that NetSuite admin?
I would say that you need to try it. You don't believe it before you see it, probably, but I would be very persuasive to turn around any administrator who thinks that Salto is not helping, because I think it's so obvious that that you are doing something that could be much easier and simpler.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where we really enjoy running those trials. It's we're big believers in you need to make sure it works for you. So I would add in there that anyone that needs convincing, please reach out and try it. Connect your environment, try these migrations, try backing up.
Yeah,
We love, like, I get to run lots of trials and work with lots of customers, and we really enjoy solving those problems for people.
yeah, definitely. And what makes it easy to be onboarded also with Salto is the kind of visual layout that you have. It's intuitive to use. It's easy to understand, and have to also say that the support that we have got from you and the whole team has been really great. There has been some, you could say, question marks, but those have been solved very, very fast working together with you. And it's, in some cases you could just open the help and read it, but it might be also bad for you that you are so helpful and easy to reach out that we are not reading it through at all. We just call you and you help us immediately. So
No, that's okay. It's a job description. I'd hate for us to, if everything was perfect, I'd be out of a job. Wouldn't be able to help solve problems. Well, Juhani, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. I think we really covered a lot here. Any parting thoughts or anything you'd like to say about Staria or Salto or anything as we wrap up here?
I probably will 15 minutes after we end the call, but for now it's no other thoughts than really glad to hear that account specific value automatic mapping is coming soon. So it will just further improve the speed of deploying things and making it even more easier to use.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those are some fun things to roll those new features to customers. We're currently going to start looking at insights and some analysis portions in Salto this year. Hopefully be able to share some of those ideas and designs here over the coming months. So I'd say stay tuned, everyone. Keep your eyes on LinkedIn and your emails. And Juhani, I know how to find you. So we'll be talking about these things as they come out.